All right, so let's put our knowledge together to build a very simple web application. All right, can you guess what you're seeing before you right now? Yes, you guessed right. This is a WhatsApp call user interface, and this is what you're going to be building with the knowledge of HTML and CSS that you have learned or that you have gained in the past. So let's delve into our lesson. So this is the code. So we have the HTML code here. Just like I earlier explained to you, this is the structure that you follow. The first line of code should declare the type of document you are writing, which is the doc type, followed by the HTML. All right, the HTML has an attribute, the lang attribute. These are some of the things I did not explain earlier. So I'll be explaining some of these things in this code because we're actually trying to build a real world application. Because normally this is how your WhatsApp call user interface looks, and it's a real world application. So it is a programmer that actually programmed this, that writes this, and you are using it, and many other people are using it, and that is what you are about to build right now. Right, so that's why you're going to be learning some. We're going to be learning some details about HTML and CSS in this particular practice. All right, in this particular video. Okay, and again I tell you that the element you put in your head element, or the element you nest in your head element, should describe what the HTML or what the document or what the web page is doing. All right, it should describe what the web page is doing. And we have some of the elements here. We have meta, we have another meta, we have title. Remember I mentioned title the other time, and we have link. Again, remember I mentioned link. All right, so moving to the body element, we have a div element. So a div element is actually the element we use to group other elements together. Just take a look at this end product of our application. You could see that there is an interface. Alright, okay. So this is the entire body of our application, of the document we are writing in that code. This is the entire body. But here we have two sections. There is a section that contains this image, the name, and this status, which is calling. There's another section that contains all these buttons, and some of these buttons are also, grouped. Okay, so we use the div element to join other elements together, or to join multiple elements together, in order to to have control over them while styling them on the web page. So like I said, this div element has two sections. We nested two sections in this div element, and it's the first section. The first section contains information about the caller, the image, the name, and the status of the call. And the second section contains buttons that you can interact with. All right, as you can see, either to switch to video, or to mute it, or to end the call, and some other options that, such as maybe sharing, screen sharing, and other options that you can explore normally as you have it on your WhatsApp, right? All right, so this is all we have on our HTML file. But let me just disconnect the CSS from the HTML to see how it looks without styling it. You're going to see how ugly it looks. Just take a look. Okay, did you just see how it looks? You can see how ugly. HTML just helps us to put all our content on the web page in a very disorganized way. So see how big the image is, even the color has disappeared. See where it put the name and the status here. This is how big the images are, you see. So this is what HTML does. The HTML is not concerned about styling and all of those things. It is CSS that makes our web pages beautiful and presentable. Alright, let's go back to our code and let us uncomment this so it come back to its normal state. You can see it now, it looks fine. Alright, so let's see what we have in the CSS file. Like I told you earlier, that there are different ways of writing CSS. There are people that write CSS file in their HTML file, but just think about writing all of this CSS code in the HTML. See, think about how bulky and untidy or kind of untidy or dirty the file is going to be. Alright, so that is why you need to have a separate file for your CSS in order to keep your code neat and organized. Alright, so first up we target the body element. Remember, we have body elements here. So everything in this body, as you could see, everything you could see on this web page is the body. Alright, so we targeted the body element and we gave it a background color of this. Alright, display should be flex, justify content should be center, align items should be center, that is, the items should be justified and aligned at the center, and the height of it should be 100 VH. So, and if you notice, there is a dot call container. Alright, so here we don't use name to select the element we style because we have quite a number of elements here. We don't just have 2 or 3 elements, we have, you know, multiple numbers of elements here. Alright, that's why we need to select them by class so that we can easily have access to them. So here we give it a class name. This is another way of styling elements. You give it a class name, and you call the class name in the CSS file by writing dot and the class name you give it in the HTML file. This should be understood, right? So to reference this name here in the CSS file, you first type dots. The dot notation indicates the selector. Alright, that means that you are using the dots to select the name of the class you have given it here. Okay, so we call the call container, that is this section, the section here, the div that contains the 2 sections that we have, as you could see it here. So there is a div that contains these 2 sections. These are the 2 sections that we have, and there is a div. So we call the div in this file the container, the call container. So, and we give it a style, the width of 400 pixel, height 600 pixel, background we give it a color, and then a URL. This URL actually I generated this background. It's kind of an image actually. I generated it from a website, so this is the URL to that website. Don't worry, I can drop this file with you in the group. Alright, then we have a border radius of 20 pixel. Border radius of 20 pixel, as you could see, is not that sharp. The edges are not that sharp, so I kind of curve a bit of 20 pixel. We have display flex. Alright, that makes these 2 elements. These are 2 elements. Remember that we group all of these elements in 2 sections, and these 2 sections are, you know, displays. These 2 sections are displayed nicely. All right, so we give it a display of flex direction column. All right, so we actually give these 2 sections a display of flex, but the flex direction should be column. You know, normally row is horizontal and column is vertical. So the display direction should be column. That is, one should be at the top of the other. Okay. And then justify content should be space between. There should be space between the content. Padding should be 20 pixel. Box shadow 0, 4 pixel, 10 pixel, and all this. Color should be white. That is color for the text. On this web page like this, we have this. So the text, all the text on this web page and all of this will take white color. That's what this is saying. Text align should be center. All right, all these text that we have should be, all the element that we have should be at the center. That's what this is saying. And position should be relative. Now moving to the next, targeting this now. Targeting the first element in this container that group them. So the name of this of the first element, we call it profile picture. So that is this picture that we are seeing here. We want to style this picture and look at the code we write for it here. So the profile picture, we give it width of 100 pixel, height of 100 pixel, border radius 50%, all right, margin 20%, sorry, overflow hidden. That means that it will not extend beyond the limit of the container. All right, and then we have other classes that we target here, and these are the properties and values that we give them. And we have this nice looking application before us. So this is so nice, and I would want you to put the knowledge of what you have learned into practice. All right, so we can see the action button. We give it some properties and values here also. I'll actually drop this file with you, so that in case you have some difficulty writing the code, you can cross-check and make your own file. But please don't copy and paste. Make sure that you write your code by yourself. What this will help you to do is that it will create a space in your mind, and some of these code here, you don't have to cram them. The more you play around them, the more you work with them, the more they become part of you. But if you just copy and paste, you are the one that is doing yourself. You are not doing anybody. Remember that this is a training that you have decided to enroll for, so that you can do a lot of things with technology and build apps that can be useful for you, and also to help others and all of that. So you must take this class seriously, and you must put the effort into learning it, so that the knowledge can become part of you. However, I'm going to drop this file with you, so that maybe at any point in time you make mistake or you're stuck, you can actually check on it. All right, so we have come to the conclusion of our first class, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to drop a link to a document you have to read. All right, some of the things we skip. Actually, I can't cover everything about HTML and CSS in this class, for the sake of keeping it brief and for the sake of practicing the things that we have learned. I have to leave out some of the information about HTML and CSS. There are a lot of things to know about them, so I'll leave a link to the document. So please at least give it 2 hours of your time every day. Okay, go through this document, read it. Any part you do not understand, don't hesitate to drop your questions in the group. I am there to guide you. I am there to answer every of your questions. Having said that, thank you very much for being part of this course. I am glad to be your tutor. All right, we are going to see you in the next class. Bye bye.